the shadow of the peaks, something waits.
The mountains have a way of swallowing secrets. In the heart of the Tatra range, there is a place where the wind doesn't just blow, it whispers. Local legends speak of the Tatra Silence, a phenomenon where every bird, insect and rustle of leaves suddenly stop. They say that when the silence finds you, you have already been marked. Most hikers stay on the trails, they trust their maps. But Adam was different. Adam was a man who believed that nature could be conquered. He was wrong. In the autumn of 2012, Adam packed his gear for a solo 5-day trek. He was an expert survivalist, a man who had climbed the Alps and the Andes. To him, the Tatras were just another playground. On the first day, his GPS log showed a steady pace. But on the second night, something changed. The logs show him walking in perfect circles for 4 hours. Why? There was no fog that night. The moon was full. Some believe he wasn't lost. They believe he was being herded. When Adam failed to check in, a search and rescue team was deployed. They found his campsite near the edge of a deep ravine. It was a scene that haunts the rescuers to this day. The tent was torn to ribbons, but the fabric was pushed outward, as if something inside desperately wanted to get out. His hiking boots were placed side by side at the entrance, perfectly polished. His lantern was still burning, casting a dim, flickering light on a journal left open on his sleeping bag. The journal started normally detailing the weather and the terrain, but by the 3rd page, the handwriting devolved into a frantic scrawl. One entry read, "The shadows are too long. Even at noon, they stretch toward me." Another, written hours later, was just one sentence repeated over and over. "The trees move when I'm not looking at them." The final entry, dated 2:14 a.m., is the most chilling. It said, "I can hear my mother's voice calling from the valley floor. But my mother has been dead for 10 years. She sounds hungry." As the search widened, the team entered a hidden valley. The locals avoided all costs Bone Valley. There they found the wardrobe. It is an ancient, gnarled pine tree, its branches heavy, not with pine cones, but with human clothing. Dozens of jackets, shirts and hats, some from the 1970s, some brand new. All were clean, all were folded or hung with impossible precision. There were no bodies, just the clothes. Among them, swaying gently in the cold wind, was Adam's bright red rain jacket. 3 days later, Adam was found. He was 10 miles away from his camp, sitting in a cave, staring at a blank wall. His fingernails were gone, as if he had been clawing at the stone. When the rescuers approached, he didn't cry for help. He didn't even move. He only whispered one thing, a phrase he continues to repeat in the psychiatric ward to this day, the echo. It forgot to mimic me. But the mystery didn't end with Adam's discovery. Local police began cross-referencing old cold cases from the same region. They found a pattern dating back to 1984. Every person who went missing in Bone Valley had one thing in common. They were all found without their shoes, just like Adam. Forensic experts examined the clothes found on the wardrobe tree. What they found defied science. Some of the garments were made of materials that hadn't been manufactured in decades, yet they looked brand new, without a single speck of dust or mountain dirt. It was as if time itself stood still in that valley. One retired ranger, who worked in the Tatras for 40 years, came forward with a chilling testimony. He claimed that on certain nights, when the moon is thin, The trees don't just move, they change position. He described seeing a pine forest in the evening, only to find an open meadow in its place by morning. "The mountains are alive," he said in his final interview, "and they are building something out there, piece by piece, soul by soul. Adam is back in civilization, but he is not home. Doctors say his mind is fractured, a victim of extreme isolation. But those who know the Tatras know better. They know that sometimes the mountains take a soul and leave the body behind as a warning. You are listening to night echoes. Next time you are in the woods and the birds stop singing, don't look at the trees. And whatever you do, do not answer the voices you recognize." Weeks after Adam was hospitalized, a group of hikers found a small, rusted metal box buried under the very tree where the clothes were hanging. Inside there was no gold or treasure, only a collection of micro SD cards wrapped in human hair. When technicians at the forensic lab opened the files, they found hundreds of hours of audio recording. But it wasn't Adam's voice, it was the sound of the forest, recorded from different angles, all at the same time. In the middle of the white noise, there were whispers, perfectly clear whispers in languages that haven't been spoken in Europe for 1,000 years. One recording, dated the night Adam went missing, captured something that the police refused to release to the public. It is a sound of a man screaming, but the scream slowly transforms into a melodic, beautiful song. The transition is so seamless that you cannot tell where the human ends and the creature begins. Local experts in folklore believe that the Tatra Mountains are not just rocks and trees, but a living, breathing organism that requires memories to stay alive. They call it the memory eater. It doesn't just take your body, it takes your history, your voice, and your face, leaving behind an empty shell that looks like a human but functions like a puppet. There are rumors that in the psychiatric ward where Adam is kept, the staff have started to notice something strange. Sometimes when Adam thinks no one is looking, his reflection in the window doesn't move when he does. It stays still, watching him with a cold, predatory smile. The question isn't what happened to Adam in the mountains. The real question is, who or